Welcome to the 2012 National Urban League Annual Conference. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our National Urban League President and Chief Executive Officer, Mark H. Morial.
Good evening. Let me welcome you to the Ernest and Morial Convention Center. To my Urban League family and friends, we are delighted that President Obama will address us momentarily. And for the third time, he visits our annual conference. First, in Orlando, Florida, then at our centennial in Washington, D.C. And today he visits the Who Dat Nation. Now some may ask, what manner of a man is President Obama? Recall that the first piece of legislation he signed into law was the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Restoration Act. In his words, he was sending a clear message that making our economy work means making sure it works for everyone. President Obama inherited a crisis. I like to say he inherited a mess. A crisis like the Great Recession had not been experienced by this nation since the 1930s. He took hold of the ship of state and guided us through the crises of the last 3 years, making gradual progress, lowering the unemployment rate, restoring the automotive industry, and getting most of the money back for the taxpayers, bringing jobs home, moving us back on track, health care for the masses, because Urban Leaguers, we know every American has a right to affordable, quality health care solutions. New directions in schooling and education, providing opportunities for homeowners to restructure their mortgages. And I might add, forging with the National Urban League and its affiliate movement, a series of partnerships which have put people back to work, which have trained our young people for the jobs of tomorrow in areas like broadband. A partnership which, through the Department of Justice, helps to mentor our young people. And I might add, a partnership where this president and his administration have taken civil rights enforcement seriously. The idea that those laws that a generation or two or three ago were placed on the books, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, the Americans with Disabilities Act, that the president has a solemn responsibility to enforce those laws, and this president has done it. So we are proud that the President will soon be with us to address us tonight, because it is a reaffirmation of how important each and every one of you are, the impact and influence you have in your communities. But it's also a reaffirmation of where the Urban League movement stands in 2012 as the nation's premier civil rights organization focused on jobs, on housing, on the economy, and the urban community. His presence reaffirms everything that each and every one of you has worked for. So I'll be back shortly. We are going to hear from some of the people who have helped make this evening and make this conference a possibility. And to do that, I am so proud to introduce to each and every one of you our #1 volunteer, the chair of our board, John Hoffmeister.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we have reversed the script. Normally tonight, the National Urban League Conference would be taking place with the president of the National Urban League, Mark Morial, explaining to us the state of the National Urban League, and we would go through the formal opening. But if you're going to yield your time to anyone, I can't imagine an easier decision than yielding our time to the President of the United States. When the President's with us, we are Americans at our very best, because he represents all of us. Young, old, experienced, inexperienced, because he manifests all of those wonderful qualities of all of our differences, and he puts it all together in that representation of this incredible country. So we thank you for joining us for this very special plenary. The energy level is great. Keep it up. This room is full of hope, it's full of joy, it's full of an enormous sense of pride. And before we hear from the President, let me ask a question. Are you glad to be in New Orleans? Is having the National Urban League meeting in New Orleans a good decision? Because it's my privilege to introduce to you 3 people who helped us get here. 3 people who made it possible through their corporate contributions to pay the bills. It's expensive to be in New Orleans. And these folks have really helped us out. And let me start by introducing our first corporate sponsor. His name is, I lost my page, sorry, Michael Niedorf. He's the chairman, the president, and the CEO of the Centene Corporation. And I'm privileged to serve with him as a National Urban League trustee. Michael?
Thank you very much for your warm introduction. I'm proud to bring greetings on behalf of Centene Corporation and our more than 5,000 employees across the nation. Like many of you, I'm glad the Urban League Conference is being held in Louisiana. This state experienced a great tragedy but we bear witness to the resilience, the determination and pride that continues to drive the rebuilding process. Thank you. Centene has strong ties to the state of Louisiana. Healthcare Connections, a Centene subsidiary, is headquartered in Baton Rouge and contracts with the state to coordinate healthcare services for individuals receiving Medicaid. Nurture, another Centene company, provides integrated disease management services to the Louisiana state employees. Today, I also want to join you in saluting Mark Morial on the occasion of his homecoming to New Orleans. You know, I forgot to ask Mark, as he's walking around town, how many people still think he's mayor. I also want to recognize the Morial family for its political achievements and contributions to this city and your state. We are fortunate to have a leader of Mark Morial's caliber. Under his leadership, the National Urban League has made great strides in focusing the nation's attention on the plight of the jobless, the need for greater investments in education and training, and the housing crisis that grips many of our communities. At Centene, we value our strong health partnership with the National Urban League. We share a goal to improve the health and quality of life for millions of individuals who need health care and lack coverage, need help in navigating the complex healthcare system. We take this commitment very seriously. In the 16 states where Centene currently operates local health plans, and as we prepare to begin operations in 2 additional states, our purpose remains clear: helping those who are less fortunate gain access to health care, improving health outcomes, and helping states design cost-effective programs. I am proud that Centene has developed programs such as Start Smart for Your Baby. This program provides valuable prenatal care to pregnant women and gives newborns and young children a healthy start in their earliest years. Start Smart and other initiatives, such as our focus on behavioral health, the underinsured, and wellness and prevention, will continue to be the foundation upon which this company is built. At Centene, we are humbled that the National Urban League is honoring us with its first National Innovator Award for Health. Thank you. This award is a reminder to us that there is much work to be done. As your empowerment pledge states, everyone deserves high-quality health care. You can count on Centene to continue working with the National Urban League to meet this goal. It is an important goal. Thank you.
I'm proud to introduce our next sponsor as well, ladies and gentlemen, a company that has had a long and rich history with the National Urban League. Please join me in welcoming sponsor Charlene Lake, the Chief Sustainability Officer for AT&T.
Thank you, John. Good evening, everyone. President Obama, Urban League President and CEO Mark Morial, members and friends of National Urban League, I am honored to be here on behalf of AT&T's Chairman and CEO Randall Stephenson, our nearly 250,000 employees across the country, on behalf of a company that is proud to partner with the National Urban League. I'd like to say just a few words about education, innovation, and cooperation, but first, I'd like us to think a minute about how much our times have changed. Remember when you talked on that phone that's ringing now, instead of having the phone talk to you? Or how about when a 10-minute coast-to-coast phone call cost more than a week's groceries? Or can you remember when you were smarter than your phone? We have experienced a technological revolution in this country, and while times have changed, we also can't forget that the National Urban League has changed the times again and again. Let's briefly look at the way AT&T and the Urban League have changed, are changing, and will continue to change our communities across the country through education, innovation, and cooperation. The National Urban League has understood from the very beginnings in 1910 that one of the cornerstones for the present and the future is education, education for all. And in the 50s and 60s, your strategy was education and persuasion. In the 60s and 70s, you launched street academies for alternative education. Today, you work tirelessly to change the system so every American child is ready for college, work, and life. And your commitment to carry that change will carry forward. AT&T shares that passion for education. We're focused, like the lasers we invented, on doing all we can through our Aspire education program to end our nation's high school dropout crisis. We're researching how to use technology to capture our kids' imaginations. We're developing an Aspire Mentoring Academy to give students firsthand exposure to success strategies of employees in the workplace. And we're engaging all of our employees, led personally by our chairman. We want to change our times and strengthen our communities. And that's why we joined in the national goal to help our high schools achieve at least a 90% graduation rate by 2020. Education is important, but it isn't enough. Another cornerstone is innovation. Today's life-changing innovations have come from the marriage of the wireless phone and the internet. Broadband and mobile internet innovations offer a world where all of us can quickly receive results of basic medical tests wirelessly at home, or where we could adjust our home's energy consumption from anywhere based on the weather, where we can get a degree for less money by attending courses from our home. Now, that's not a technological pipe dream, as you know, because it's happening in some areas today. We want it available to all. Broadband and the mobile internet connect Americans to economic resources in their communities all around the world. President Obama and Mark Mariel know this. President Obama has set a goal to extend broadband services to communities across the country. Mark, you serve as chairman of the Broadband Opportunity Coalition, a group that has been instrumental in the national campaign to increase broadband awareness and adoption in minority communities. We thank you for your leadership and your voice for change in this area that's so important to our nation's economy. But even education and innovation are not enough to secure the future of our communities and our nation. We must cooperate as if there's no tomorrow, because without cooperation, there may be no tomorrow. AT&T is committed to continuing our investments in education and innovation and cooperation. We'll continue to invest in the youth of America through programs like AT&T Aspire. We will continue our commitment to diversity and community engagement, and we look forward to continuing our historic cooperation with you in the days ahead. We are humbled and more than honored to accept tomorrow the Donald McGannon Award from you. We received that award knowing that the cooperation of our organizations made it possible. We embrace the award as a challenge to be more worthy today, more worthy tomorrow than today of all it represents. My colleagues and I look forward to our continuing partnership as we focus our minds on innovation and our strength on education and our hearts on cooperation. And we look forward to continuing to work to make this world worthy of our children. One more thing before I leave the podium. For those of you getting in your cars as you leave here today, and indeed every single day, please make sure you use technology responsibly and don't text and drive. We need to protect our children and protect each other. I hope you'll take a minute during the conference to visit our Texting While Driving simulator and take the pledge with us to not text and drive. No text is worth a life. It can wait. Thank you and enjoy your conference.
Thank you, Charlene. We will now welcome our event sponsor, Gail King. Gail is the Executive Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer of Nationwide Insurance and a fellow trustee of the National Urban League. Gail?
All right, well, good evening, everyone. I'm Gail King, Chief Administrative Officer for Nationwide Insurance. Thank you. I am honored and delighted to bring you greetings from our 35,000 Nationwide associates and from our CEO, Steve Rasmussen, and to welcome you to this year's conference. This is a special week because we're in Mark Morial's hometown, but it's also because this conference promises to inspire, to educate, and motivate you. And tonight is extra special because tonight we hear from the 44th President of the United States, President Barack Obama. Great. And Nationwide is honored to join the National Urban League in welcoming him this year. Mr. President, we are looking forward to your remarks, and we thank you for your dedication and commitment to make America a better place for all Americans. To Mark Morial and all of the affiliate presidents, we thank you for your leadership and applaud your commitment as you empower the nation. Your focus on jobs, health, education, and housing is all critically needed. And so Nationwide stands with the National Urban League as we have for over a decade, because supporting communities is part of Nationwide's On Your Side promise, whether it's through our philanthropic work, volunteerism, and job creation. We understand that we have a responsibility to be more than a business. So we would encourage you to participate in all that the conference has to offer, as there are some amazing presenters and participants. I would also like to personally invite you to stop by the Nationwide booth and register from some really nice prizes, as well as to explore career opportunities. At Nationwide, we believe that we can accomplish great things by working together. We look forward to continuing our partnership with the National Urban League for years to come. Mark Morial and all of the Urban League affiliate presidents, congratulations and thanks for your leadership. Mr. President, we are proud of you and we're looking forward to your remarks. To all, please enjoy the conference. And finally, Nationwide is on your side.
Remember I said 3 sponsors? One of my bosses said to me many years ago, John, if you could only count, you might make something of yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our 4th sponsor tonight who is with us. And I'm so pleased to be able to introduce to you Mr. Bruce Culpepper, Executive Vice President of Upstream America and the Head of Regional Coordination for the Shell Oil Company.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to join the other presenters in welcoming you to New Orleans, the Houdat Nation. New Orleans is a vibrant city that's one of Shell's long-standing hometowns, and I'm proud to call it my hometown for 7 years of my professional career in Shell. And I think I was here when Mark Morial's father served as mayor. So thank you, Mark, to you and your father for service to this great city. As one of the executive vice presidents for Shell in the Americas, I'm especially glad that we're here to welcome you to what is sure to be one of the best National Urban League conferences yet. As you will no doubt remember, it was 7 years ago next month that Hurricane Katrina had New Orleans on the ropes. Longtime residents and major companies alike were pulling up stakes. It was very difficult for some to see a future here. But Shell decided to strengthen our already deep roots in this community and declare that we were here for the long run. We repaired the damage to One Shell Square and brought home our dislocated and scattered employees. And we worked with a legion of organizations, including the National Urban League, to help salvage communities and institutions such as Jazz Fest. Because at Shell, relationships matter. We're proud of the long ties to the National Urban League, more than 40 years now, and the service of Shell executives on the board, like Tracy Faulkner, who's here in the front row with us tonight. Together, we've promoted business startups and higher education. We support youth development, infrastructure and workforce initiatives, and many other worthy causes. Over the next 3 days, you will hear from an inspiring array of leaders from nonprofits, civil service, education, and community development, and in a few minutes, from the President of the United States. I expect we'll hear great ideas about how working together we can build stronger communities and a stronger economy with more opportunity for more people. This is the heart of the National Urban League advocacy reflected in this year's conference theme: employment and education empower the nation. Speaking of empowering the nation, I can't resist noting that energy can empower the nation too. In fact, it already does. Louisiana is one of this country's top 3 states for job growth, and it's been that way throughout this tough economic stretch. Much of that growth traces directly to oil and gas activities. Shell employs more than 20,000 people in the U.S., and 4,000 of them in the Louisiana Gulf Coast area. From our New Orleans operations, headed by Mr. John Hollowell, who's also with us tonight, we produce, applause for John, he's a local celebrity. We produce 150 million barrels of oil from the Gulf of Mexico each year. And within 50 miles of the spot I stand tonight, we operate multiple refineries, petrochemical complexes, and transportation facilities. And in the northwest part of this great state, we operate our Haynesville shale gas assets, which adds to the supply of clean and affordable natural gas. In all, energy accounts for well over $1 trillion of economic benefit to this country each year. The oil and gas industry has more than $163 billion worth of projects underway in the United States right now. There's a lot of room in these numbers for good to happen. And with more oil and gas activity, there could be even more room for more good things to happen and in more places across this country. As the conference empowerment theme suggests, business and communities collaborating can generate opportunities and accomplish much more together than either could separately. When a business invests in a community, that community grows stronger. And when communities grow stronger, individuals do too. That in turn is good for the Urban League, it's good for business, and it's great for America. And just one more reason Shell's proud to be a title sponsor for this year's conference. I sincerely hope you enjoy your stay here and you fully experience the local hospitality and culture like you can't find anywhere else. Have a great conference, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce. Before continuing, just a few announcements. Tomorrow morning, here in this room, Mark Morial will give the keynote address, the State of the Union of the Urban League. At noon, we have the exhibit hall, the career and the networking fair opening, and a ribbon cutting for both the business and the young professional luncheons. Tickets are still available. Tonight, immediately following this presidential plenary, buses will be outside the convention to take you to the Mardi Gras Mardi Gras World for the welcome reception presented by the Urban League of Greater New Orleans. I have one more job to do. My job now is, John, get out of the way for President Morial and President Barack Obama. Here they are.
stand and join in the singing of the anthem, lift every voice and sing.